earlier.
There we go. We're good.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Looks like we have no audience introductions. I have approval of the agenda. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any in opposition? Okay, motion passes. Delegation of visitors, I assume we don't have any. Items of information for the board.
Yeah, so I'm giving all the reports tonight, if you can tell there. So it just says here, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we have state testing going on right now. Can't really go into too much of it, but we have some promising early returns with science and ELA, so that was good. Math, a lot of them are testing right now, so we won't have those back for a few weeks, but really after the end of school year is when we really start seeing all the returns come back. Science we did a little bit before spring break, and then high school did it right after spring break, so we started seeing some of those come back over the last few weeks. But ELA and then math we'll see, like I said, right after school's out, usually about a week or two afterwards. So later in the fall is when we can release all that information, but the science stuff is promising, and we look forward to seeing the rest of it and seeing where our data takes us. And then Ms. Ferguson came to me a couple of weeks ago to discuss overall success with the assessments he had given to our high school students, and was ecstatic with the interest that they've been showing in his science courses over the past few years. We are actually looking at having 2 sections of chemistry this next year, which is unheard of. Mr. Howlett and him cannot think of any time that we've had 2 sections of chemistry. So that would be quite outstanding. And what we do here again is we have 1 year of chemistry, and then we follow that up with 1 year of physics. So this year we had physics, next year we have chemistry, and so we just flip-flop that back and forth. So we talked about that a little bit a couple of weeks ago once he said that, and it's looking like that's what we're going to end up having to do. So yeah, that would be a first, but we continue to have more students between some of our ag science classes, with whether it's vet science, animal science, the floriculture, horticulture, but then also our anatomy and physiology, advanced biology, chemistry, physics, biology. We have a lot of students that are taking those courses. Forensic science is obviously a popular one, as too, zoology. So those ones have been great. So very appreciative of our willingness as a district, including the board, when we put resources both towards those trips that get students excited, and expose them to different aspects and opportunities at different colleges as well. But also when we did the overhaul of how we were structuring our curriculum and our class order that we are doing. So it's really great. And we look forward to continuing that with that. Forecasting this next year, completed, bless you, by the way, our student class and career interest survey. Shared that data with the staff to help finish building the draft schedule for next year. Students will request their preferred choices over the next 2 weeks. So this week, finish up. And then have the opportunity to review and modify their choices at registration in early August when they meet with Maggie or me during their transcript update. On the athletic front, want to recognize our Mighty Pirates on the track and field teams. Our middle school team had many athletes win their events at the district track meet, filled with 2A and 3A meet their teams, in addition to the numerous others who finished in the top 5 in the league as well. An impressive showing for what is a very young program overall, and middle school track just started a handful of years ago. High school team continues to see vast individual improvement as well over the past few meets. Seems the athletes are setting PRs, it seems like every meet. And we look forward to seeing the district track meets this coming weekend. And then on to state for some of the athletes. We also had one middle school track athlete who competed in a statewide event. Really, even some people from California came up to Corvallis to do the meet of champions there. He took second in the high jump. He did 5'10" at that meet. He did 5'11" at the other meet. So in the state of Oregon, all levels, 1A through 6A, he was first in the state of Oregon going into that meet. And then he lost to a gentleman from California at the meet in Corvallis. So pretty great. And then just a reminder that high school graduation Saturday, June 6th at 5 p.m. 8th grade promotion will be on the evening of Monday, June 8th, and kindergarten graduation will be on Wednesday, June 10th in a small gym. Hope to see all of you there. And so today I was hoping we could kind of divvy that out there towards the end of, I mean, it could be at the end, it could be whenever you want to do it. But if we could make sure we get that done tonight on who's doing what.
I thought we'd just do that during the, like when we go through the dates.
Yeah, okay. Elementary, middle school update. So the in-district kindergarten registration and open house was a wonderful opportunity for incoming kindergarten students and their families to visit classrooms, meet staff, and begin building excitement for the school year. Patients with parents last week on Tuesday, very well attended, and it provided a fun opportunity for families to spend time together at school before the start of the day. Great to see the 4th and 5th grade and middle school bands perform for the parents. In elementary classes, several teachers joined the middle school band for the performance, making it memorable. Glow Day was a big hit. It was right in here in the science lab. Thanks again to Julia Wilson for doing that again this year. Mr. DJ was pied in the face for part of the elementary-wide reward celebration for math fact achievement. Always a good sport, and he's very willing to take part in those type of activities too. 6th grade outdoor school, amazing experience for the students, provided valuable opportunities for learning, teamwork, and outdoor exploration. Shout out to Camp Tapawingo once again. And the 8th grade trip started today, and Mrs. Ford will be joining them tomorrow. She's heading out tomorrow morning. I'll do a couple of nights down there. And then a special thank you to Ms. Solon for organizing and leading both the outdoor school and the 8th grade trip. Obviously, large undertakings that create lasting memories and meaningful experiences for the students. Any questions on those? And then on to the special education. So currently we have 35 students on IEPs. This year is wrapping up, and there's nothing new to report, which is nice. They finished up all their meetings they needed to do for the year. It's about 4 weeks to go. Which is great. That's ahead of schedule. So appreciate that. I think so. And that's large part due to the fact that we have 2 teachers now instead of 1 in addition to Aaron. So that was great. Facility and maintenance update. So in general, you know, we talking about the different aspects of some of the middle school restrooms. Troy had to work on doing some of the cabinetry work or woodwork that had to go underneath where the counters are going to go. That was not done ahead of time by the company that's putting in the counters. It wasn't really part of their scope, I guess. So he came in and worked on those. They're really sturdy. We were in there earlier today. They were working on grinding down the floor and putting in the epoxy. They'll finish up tomorrow. So we ended up epoxying both bathroom floors. There's a pirate logo head that's in there, 2 on those floors with the epoxy, and then the snack bar also has an epoxy floor. So we were able to get rid of the 1x1 linoleum tiles that were in there. And then a lot of work went into that to get it, ready ahead of time. So appreciate all the work that they did to get that going. And then on another note, signed a yearly contract agreement with Holmeyer HVAC, and they'll go through and they'll check all the HVAC units and make sure that they're functioning correctly and clean all the units. And then they'll supply all the new filters necessary to clean the reusable filters, etc. So you can see that right there. So You can see elementary, talked about carpets. Middle school, you can see right there, we talked with, really it's Pace. McLaren's was just a third-party vendor that we work with that Pace has hired in order to help go through the gym situation that we have going on. Basically, what we got for doing the demo ourselves was $30,000, which is what the other company would have charged to have that done if they would have done it for us. And so they were getting a check for that amount. And then the idea is to be able to utilize that to pay for subs that we have for the last week of school. We have a couple of subs coming in to free up our guys to be able to do the floor. Also to help pay for some of the costs for if we have some dump fees, et cetera, but also it'll cover our $5,000 deductible cost that we had for the district and some of the upgrades on some of the countertops that we had as well. As a reminder, we have a little bit of flooring costs that we are incurred, but our company that's helping us do the restoration, Joel and his guys, his company is pitching in $5,000 towards our flooring costs too. So altogether, that's going to help us out quite a bit by getting that $30,000. So I appreciate that. And you can see the other ones. I'm not going to go into those because those are pretty easy and pretty quick. So, any questions on those?
No, but I'd say just like you could share appreciation to Troy and the crew for that's extra work that they're doing, labor wise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Save that. So.
I did tell them that we were going to be buying their lunches during that week. So when they're tearing stuff out, I will say that he feels good about the fact. I mean, that old gym, we had a lot of nails that were in that old gym floor. We don't have to worry about that this time. They're just sawing it all up. So that will help out tremendously. So he is feeling good about
that. Spotlight on education.
So I have 3 items to talk about. The first one is this flyer. I'll pass around here. If you could take one and just keep passing around all the way to Vanessa. Vanessa, you'll have a couple extras, but you just hold on to those. So this is something we've been working on with Amity, Sheridan, and Willamina school districts, in addition to the fire district there at the Tribe, Sheridan, Willamina, and then Amity obviously is our fire district, but also for Amity High School. And so what you'll see right there is we've been working with the Barbara Roberts CTEC program, which is the Career Technical Education. That's the one that Sheridan's been working on, and it's been hard for them to get all the funding they need, but they've been able to secure quite a bit of funding, just not the tens of millions of dollars that they need to do the whole building and program. But through that grant and through working together with the 4 schools and the 4 fire districts and some outside groups, we've been able to get a few classes actually ready for next year. And we're going to be doing these on Fridays so they don't interfere with our regular classes. And so students can do those on Fridays, get the high school credit for sure. They're still trying to articulate that with one of the colleges. We're not having a ton of success with that part, but that's okay. Even if not, they're going to get that high school credit, be able to work with the local fire departments, and then they'll be able to get our coursework provides that introduction to medical training and relevant, as you can see, for the nursing, even vet medicine, sports medicine, more. And they'll be able to get some of those skills necessary as they start that career, especially if they're going to go on to Chemeketa, even Western Oregon, if they're looking at doing fire science or EMT, EMR, EMS, those programs, which we have a lot of students that like to do it. When we did our student interest survey a couple of weeks ago, we had about 8 students out of the 90 that interested in doing that EMS coursework. In the past, we haven't been able to offer those types of courses. And so by doing this would be a great opportunity for our kids. And it's open for students that are going to be juniors or seniors at school. So really excited about this opportunity. Just today, we found out also we had WESD had opened up this school at the old Toys R Us a handful of years ago. So long distance to go, but they had, you know, the cosmetology and they had health sciences and some diesel work, etc. But the distance was just really far, and we didn't want to put any money towards that as a district because the distance was hard to overcome, I'd say, in order to work with the schedule, etc. And it would have taken the whole day instead of just part of the day. We had the principal come to us in the middle of March, said they were looking at a site and they wouldn't really tell us where the site was. We found out a couple weeks ago that it's going to be in Dallas, and they asked what schools may be interested, but they didn't really give us more information. We followed up today with an email, and we said, okay, well, we need to see this information, what it is. So the two programs we're looking at in Dallas, one is health science, kind of a capstone product. And I asked what that is. Is it a 5th-year program like some schools do? Is it for seniors? And then also what time of day would it be? How many days a week would it be? And then the other part of it is, or the other program is cosmetology. But with cosmetology is that, you know, hair and lashes and nails, or is it just nails? Because in there it just says nails. So I've heard it may just be nails and or maybe lashes. The other one in Salem actually does hair, nails, and lashes. So trying to figure out what that looks like between the two programs. Again, how many days, if it's in the morning, if it's in the afternoon. Right now we have our required classes for seniors to meet the state requirements are in the morning for next year. So if it's in the morning, that makes it more difficult for students because we would typically have something like that would be more of an afternoon. That would mean that they would have to take a lot of online stuff then in the afternoon. They wouldn't really be with their peers and all during that senior year. So I don't know if that would be something that they would be as interested in for senior year. That would cost a lot more than like the fire science. That would be stuff that we put towards it, like SIA dollars, etc. With this, it's cost would basically be about half of our ADM money that would go for a program like the cosmetology and or the health science, because if they're there half the day, we'd be basically paying for a spot, which would probably be about $5,500. They haven't told us the exact amount. So that's again another question is, what does that cost look like? So I was apprehensive to respond favorably until I know that information.
Do you know, like, deadline wise, were they?
Yeah, he did respond back and say, you know, I'll get you more information. I'm going to call him in the morning and say, hey, we're on the deadline here. You know, what does this look like? Because you're asking us to commit to something without having all the detailed information. When I find out more information, I'll send it to all of you. But I think it's great that we at least have, you know, this fire science, and then if we can, you know, start getting something more on this side of the river, I think it's great. The ESD listened to us on that because a lot of us on this side of the river shared our frustration that not only was it on that side, but it wasn't even like in the middle of Salem, or it wasn't somewhere that was, you know, more accessible to a lot of districts. You start putting on Lancaster, it's a little bit more difficult for a lot of us to get to. So we appreciate them thinking that it was a good idea to have something on this side of the river as well. So that was the first part. The next one was senior trip. You know, they had talked about doing a skip day, and then they said, hey, can we come to you guys and share that? You guys had said yes, go ahead. And Cindy, I don't know if you want to give an update on, Cindy was a chaperone, so I know there was a little bit of a surprise Sunday morning when they woke up to snow.
Yeah, it was an unwelcome surprise, but it was fine. It melted. It was actually, I wish they had one more day because today was the nicest day and it was about 60 degrees when we left at 10 o'clock. So, but they had a good time. There was a very small group of them. We hiked to the top of Pilot Butte on the first day, on our way over, and it was a little disappointing because it was cloudy, so we didn't get to see any of the mountains. My best friend lives over there, so she was our tour guide, hiking us up to the top. And so when we were driving into Bend yesterday to do some activities, the mountains were in full view. I said, anyone want to go hiking? Because today's a beautiful day. You can see the mountains. No, 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 wanted to go. But it was a good trip. It was really laid back. We had a good time.
Good, thank you. Appreciate it. Put you on the spot there, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then the last one, I know I talk a lot about some of the FFA stuff, but the state places that we got this year is the first time we've ever done that. I talked with Hutch a couple weeks ago too. Once we found out that the group had won the first place with the state ag communications, and they had called me while they were right afterwards actually, and I said, I knew it was one of two things. Either we could have gotten in a wreck and either let me know about it with the pickup, or it was a good thing. So they said, guess what color banner we got? So I figured it was good. So I said purple because I knew there wasn't one, just to mess with them. But she said no. And I said, well, I'm guessing if you're calling me, it's blue. They said, yes, we got blue. So that was really outstanding. That's something I know that not only the the advisors, but the kids in that group really were striving for. And, you just wanted to compete and, gain those skills, et cetera, but to be able to come home with a state champion in whichever one it is, that's a big deal because they put a lot of time and effort into it. And for those of you who know those students that participated, to see the growth they made individually and put that towards the teamwork, it's exactly what FFA is about. And so I respect that a lot about the program. And, I, as a former student body advisor, student leadership advisor, I still say that FFA is the best student leadership program that the state has. And I was very impressed with the growth that I saw from middle school through the senior year of those ladies that were involved with this. And I know there was one that's not a senior, but in each of those ones, because not only did they get first place there, but the state floriculture, which is a pretty new program for us, we got third place for that. So at state level, so to get a first and a third was pretty outstanding. And then even at districts, we started something when we had this idea of growing the program with our CTE. Part of it was to try to get more middle school students involved. And this year we were able to do that. And I know you were at the banquet the other day and you saw that we had quite a few middle school kids that they discussed. And we had some that went to the state convention, but we also just had a lot more students involved with that. And this year, some took part in beginning competitions as well. And so they took second place. I believe it was the beginning, I think they did beginning floriculture maybe, and then job interview, et cetera. But some of them, and at the district competition, they were able to get second place and third place in some of the competitions. So for them to be able to start those programs now in middle school, I think that's really great. Again, not just to get the second and third place, but again, to get those skills to compete and, to get some of those skills necessary for that leadership opportunity. So really grateful for the time and effort that the kids put in, but also the advisors. So really outstanding. So those are the three things.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
New hires resignation.
Back to the list here. So Tammy Morrow, Gen Ed IA resignation. So you can see her right there. She's going to be moving on to another endeavor there. So her last day of work is going to be on June 11th. So thank you so much, it says. So that is it.
Okay, thank you. Consent agenda. Could we have an motion to approve the items? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the items on the consent agenda. All those in favor? Aye. Any in opposition? Okay, motion passes. Items for board action. The first one is resolution of intent to hire classified 2026 or 26, 27.
Yeah, so the handout that you have right there for 26, 27, you can see the list of members there. We do this each May. So we have some that are going to be vacant. As you heard Cindy talk about earlier, I think we have 3 spots right now that are vacant. They're listed on there. But the rest of them are, our intent to hire those individuals right there. So we would just urge the board to make a motion to approve this list of individuals to intend to rehire all these classified staff members. And we would have to have you.
Does it need to be
We don't have to do it. We don't have to read it, correct? Yeah.
To approve resolution 26-05, intent to rehire classified staff.
Right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Okay, motion passes. Next is approval of certified bargaining agreement, and there is a handout. Cindy, do you want to give like a quick overview? of this?
Sure.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot.
No, you're good. So I sent this to the lawyer. There's a couple, I don't think this one is highlighted, but the final offer that the board presented that was discussed at the special board meeting, was accepted. So it's 3-year contract at $433, with changing their, when they sub for classroom, for their prep, they get their hourly rate. And then the other part was their insurance. I retyped this and there's chunks where it didn't. Anyway, I'm sidetracked by the layout and whatever. So the insurance we did was $14.69 for the first year, and then it increases $50 a month each of the other 2 years. And they kept their Viva and HSA contributions as is. So, and then the new salary schedule was in the back. Yep. And then the special ed stipend was the other thing that they had, that we had both agreed on. So that's included in the extra duty salary schedule in the back.
Oh, and you had mentioned, so the attorneys were all good or whether.
She actually responded the same day that I sent it to her.
Okay.
So I just highlighted the areas that were updated, and she sent it back within a couple hours and said it was all fine. There were no language changes, so it was pretty easy. Other than the hourly rate. For the sub.
Okay. Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'd say any discussion. Something one. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Okay, motion passes. And then OSAA cooperative agreements renewal.
Yep, and that actually is going to have to be tabled, and just it was already on there. So we were hoping to hear back from one of our neighboring districts. So every 4-year time block, you have to renew all your co-ops. So we have a soccer co-op. We may be looking at possibly having a different partner with that. So we're working on that. The numbers change, and you have to make sure that you fit within the other team's slot. So it's kind of tricky sometimes. So we'll be looking at working with one of our neighbors. We reached out last week, the day we got the email, and we found out that there's some interest possibly on their side of things as well. So what's that?
Girls played football.
Well, that wouldn't necessarily be a co-op. That would just be something our girls could have interest in doing. Yeah. And that's something that you can do You can also always add that as long as it's before the season starts. So like girls
we have
flag
nothing
football
till
starts in, March, so you can just add it in February. So, not that you want to get in the habit of doing it that late, but. And that one actually goes all the way through 6A, so you can add like 5 schools probably our size and do all right. So that, so yeah, we'll have to table that because we didn't hear back.
Okay.
from this one.
No problem. And D, enrollment numbers.
Yeah, so our kindergarten, when we had our meeting in April, the end of April, we had between in-district and siblings, we had a total of 9 students. So what we were looking at, I spoke with Christy about that. We were looking at trying to get to the odd number of 21. I guess we're like blackjack maybe, but so we were just looking at doing about 21 students. That gives us 3 students to still work with once we get to registration, which our worst case scenario year was where we added 4 during registration. That was an abnormal year. Typically it's 1, if that. I don't even know if we added any last year, Vanessa, you may know better than I do on that
We
one.
had so many siblings last year.
No, I'm saying that we added kindergartners
Oh.
last second at registration. I don't
Yeah.
think we,
We had a couple, but it was
Yeah.
very minimal. Yeah, we had a lot of
of
siblings last year.
kindergartners, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not saying just siblings, I'm saying adding.
No, I know.
Yeah, okay, so
So I'm sorry,
we're
what
asking to
number
add up
is-
to the number of 21. is what
Oh,
we're
okay.
saying. That gives us still wiggle room of 12. And then the other class we're looking at again is 8th grade. Currently we have 22. We have very good information from parents that we have up to about 6 more leaving in the 8th grade class, probably more like 5, it looks like. But we have some moving, some switching to other schools because their siblings are there. And one just switching because they're going back to a school that's closer to them.
Is that, is that incoming 8th grade or outgoing 8th grade?
Outgoing 8th grade,
Okay.
so this incoming 9th grade, I should say. So right now, what we were asking for was probably 4. So not the full amount, because if we lost, let's say 5 more, that would put us down to 17. And then if we added 4, that'd still be only 21, but we do not want to go too high in case some of those students end up still staying. We
Okay.
know that we're gonna still have a chunk of them, but we also do not want to get stuck in a spot where we don't take any right now. And all of a sudden, we're back at a number of 17 with the class like we are with our seniors. So we understand that we're very confident that some of them are definitely leaving because we know that they're moving. And we know that some are leaving because their siblings are going, but are already there. But, we do want to be somewhat conservative with it because we understand that their mind may be changing.
On kindergarten, is that the same thought? Because I was just comparing, we have 24 right now. Is the thought like, we do 21 now, it leaves like some wiggle room for kids you didn't know that might be. in the
Exactly, that's the registration piece.
Okay.
Our worst case scenario was 1 year, we got to a number, and then that registration, we got 4 more 1 year. And that was, again, the worst we ever had. Typically, we may have had 1
Mhm.
or 2 that may show up, and we've never had 4 except for that 1 year.
Okay.
And Janine was ready to kill me. And those are the only 2 classes that we saw that we should probably move on at this time. Typically, we only do that with classes that are low in numbers, like kindergarten, obviously, or a class like what we see with the incoming freshmen.
So what was the number for the incoming freshmen?
So we're asking for 4 at this time.
4. Okay. Okay. You want me to say?
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know how to say this. Moved to approve
see registration of kindergarten up to 21.
21.
And then an additional 4 for incoming freshmen for 9th grade.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any in opposition? Okay, motion passes. Patron input, I don't believe we have any. Board comments. I just have one. I am wondering if we could do some, before like the students leave, like something for rapid response, have it be like, you know, a CTE, like one of the cutouts or
Sure.
something.
Yeah, we can do
That would
something.
be kind of nice.
You want to do like something like their logo or something different that maybe have
I
a
would say
name
like
or-
their logo would
Okay,
be nice, just for all the extra work they've done.
sure. Is there somebody that you know that we could do it behind Joel's back? That we could get there, because we're gonna need his
I
logo.
could get the logo from his wife,
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought it was his wife, but I wasn't sure, so.
yeah, from Melissa.
Yep, I'll talk to Kirk.
Okay, now, announcements, dates of importance.
Yes, so
I don't know if you need to go through all
Nope.
of these, Dan.
not at all.
There's so many.
I would
But,
not go through all those, just so you know.
the one item for the board is, we do help with graduation, like handing out certificates. So try to get 2 at each of the, probably just 1 at kindergarten, but
Can I do
2. You want to do kindergarten? Awesome. We've got 1 done. What was that? Oh, yeah. Okay.
kindergarten graduation?
Okay.
One
Mindy
o'clock-
Price,
1
Mindy
o'clock
Price
on-
every year.
1 o'clock on Wednesday, right?
I don't know.
It still says TBD on the calendar in the office.
You're supposed to use Wonder Twin Powers Activate right there. We'll get back to you, but I believe it's 1 o'clock on Wednesday.
And then high school graduation is the 6th at 5 p.m. and middle school is that Monday, whatever that is, right? There it is, the 8th.
Shauna said 2 p.m.
I would volunteer for
Got a text.
the high school graduation.
So Jenny's doing high school.
I can do high school too.
Okay,
It'll get me out of work.
it's fun. And I'll do 8th grade.
I've done it the last 2 years.
I've done high school in the past 2. Okay. And the other thing I just want to remind everyone, I mean, we'll all still be here. The board meeting, we'll have, that's the board meeting, we'll approve the budget
Yeah.
on the 15th. And so we'll have public comment at 6:55 and we probably won't have anyone. I'll say that now.
I thought you were
now
like
I'm
getting
gonna-
us ready.
now
Like,
I'm gonna,
uh-oh,
like,
what's going on?
Drop a big bomb. No, and then I got worried. I'm like, you know, now I just jinxed it. So, okay. Anything else? If not, we will adjourn. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.